News: B of a securities downgrades Comstock Resources to neutral, lowers price target to $24. Overall sentiment, negative, score -3 out of 10. Short-term impact, short-term market impact, potential decrease in stock value. Long-term impact, long-term market impact, uncertainty about Comstock Resources' future prospects. Ticker-specific analysis, CRK, negative trade recommendation, holds CRK, score -1 symbols, CRK. News: PNCI's double-digit growth in 2026 after closing strong year. Overall sentiment, positive, score 8 out of 10. Short-term impact, short-term positive reaction to the news, shares up 3.24% per market. Long-term impact, long-term market impact depends on company's ability to execute on its growth strategy and maintain momentum in 2026. Ticker-specific analysis, PNC, positive trade recommendation. By PNC, score 2 symbols, PNC. News: Immunity Bio shares are trading higher after the company announced Quant 2.005 enrollment has exceeded internal expectations and is now over 85% complete. Also, the company announced updated efficacy and safety results from the ongoing Quant 106 clinical study. Overall sentiment, positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, shares may continue to rise on optimism about Immunity Bio's pipeline. Long-term impact, potential for increased investor interest and long-term growth, pending continued successful clinical trials. Ticker-specific analysis, IBEX, positive trade recommendation. By IBEX, score 2 symbols, IBEX. News: trading halt. Halt status updated at 8:55:00 a.m. ET. Quotation resumption. News and resumption times. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, no impact expected. Long-term impact, no long-term implications mentioned. Ticker-specific analysis, OK, neutral trade recommendation. Hold OCG, score 0 symbols, OK. News: trading halt. Halt status updated at 8:55:00 a.m. ET. Quotation resumption. News and resumption times. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, neutral, no significant market impact expected. Long-term impact, no long-term implications mentioned. Ticker-specific analysis, HUBC, neutral trade recommendation. Hold HUBC, score 0 symbols, HUBC. News: trading halt. Halt status updated at 8:55:00 a.m. ET. Quotation resumption. News and resumption times. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, minimal impact expected. Long-term impact, no long-term implications mentioned. Ticker-specific analysis, ASP, neutral trade recommendation. Hold ASP, score 0 symbols, ASP. News: Sasol shares are trading lower after JP Morgan downgraded the stock from neutral to underweight. Overall sentiment, negative, score -8 out of 10. Short-term impact, negative reaction expected in short-term due to downgrade. Long-term impact uncertain, but could be significant if concerns persist. Ticker-specific analysis, SSL, negative trade recommendation. Sell SSL, score -2 symbols, SSL. News: how to trade SBY. QQQ, Apple, MSFT, NVDA, Google, Meta, Tesla using technical analysis overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, increased volatility due to options expiration MOPEX may lead to sharp price movements. Long-term impact, market performance will depend on future economic data releases and Federal Reserve commentary. Ticker-specific analysis. Tesla, neutral trade recommendation. Hold Tesla, score 0 symbols. Tesla. News, Sigma Lithium shares are trading lower. Reports yesterday suggested that Brazil shut down the company's waste piles due to safety concerns. Overall sentiment, negative, score -5 out of 10. Short-term impact, short-term, expected decline in SGML stock price. Long-term impact, long-term, potential for negative impact on SGML reputation and operations. Ticker-specific analysis, SGML, negative trade recommendation. Sell SGML, score -3 symbols, SGML. News, Worthington Steel shares are trading higher after the company announced that it has entered into a business combination agreement with Kloeckner & Co. Overall sentiment, positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact, stock price may continue to rise in the short term. Long-term impact is uncertain without further information about the business combination. Ticker-specific analysis, WS, positive trade recommendation. By WS, score 2 symbols, WS. News, First Bank shares Q4 EPS $0.87 up from $0.71 YoY. Sales $7.039 up from $6.166 YoY. Overall sentiment, positive, score 9 out of 10. Short-term impact, expected to have a positive impact on short-term stock price. Long-term impact, may lead to long-term appreciation of the stock value due to sustained growth. Ticker-specific analysis, FBSI. Positive symbols, FBSI. News, trading halt. Halt status updated at 9:00 a.m. ET. Quotation resumption. News and resumption times overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. No market impact expected from this news. Long-term impact. No long-term implications mentioned. Ticker-specific analysis. HUBQA. Neutral symbols. HUBQA. News, trading halt. Halt status updated at 9:01 a.m. ET. Quotation resumption. News and resumption times overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, neutral, no significant impact expected. Long-term impact, not applicable, no long-term implications mentioned. Ticker-specific analysis. HUBs, neutral symbols, HUBs. News, the analyst verdict. Comcast in the eyes of 15 experts overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Market may experience short-term volatility due to analyst rating changes. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact depends on Comcast's ability to address revenue growth concerns and maintain its strong financial position. Ticker-specific analysis. CMXA. Negative trade recommendation. Hold CMXA, score -1 symbols. CMXA. News, P/E ratio insights for Vertiv Holdings overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Market volatility expected due to conflicting valuation opinions. Long-term impact. Long-term shareholders may remain optimistic, but cautious investors may reassess their positions. Ticker-specific analysis. VRT. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold VRT, score 0 symbols. VRT. News, forecasting the future. 4 analyst projections for Garmin overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, expected short-term price increase due to positive analyst sentiment. Long-term impact, potential for sustained long-term growth based on analysts' 12-month price targets. Ticker-specific analysis. GRMN. Positive trade recommendation. By GRMN, score 2 symbols. GRMN. News. Is the trade desk Inc. gaining or losing market support? Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term price increase due to reduced short interest. Long-term impact, long-term implications uncertain, but declining short interest may signal improving market outlook. Ticker-specific analysis, TTD. Neutral trade recommendation, hold TTD, score 1 symbols. TTD. News, is Wells Fargo & Co. gaining or losing market support? Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact, neutral, as short-term price movement may be influenced by various factors. Long-term impact, positive, as decreased short interest may indicate a potential long-term price increase. Ticker-specific analysis. WFC. Neutral trade recommendation, hold WFC, score 0 symbols. WFC. News, Locify shares are trading higher after the company announced it expanded its partnership with Experience.com. Overall sentiment, positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, short-term market impact, price increase due to positive news. Long-term impact, long-term market impact, partnership expansion, may lead to increased revenue and growth potential. Ticker-specific analysis, LCFY, positive trade recommendation. Hold LCFY, score 1 symbols. LCFY. News, demystifying Devon Energy. Insights from 11 analyst reviews overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact may be moderate due to the recent revenue growth and increased analyst optimism. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact could be significant as Devon Energy's strong financial performance and increasing revenue growth rate may attract more investors, driving up stock prices. Ticker-specific analysis. DVN. Positive trade recommendation. Hold DVN, score 1 symbols. DVN. News, what 8 analyst ratings have to say about AutoNation overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, expected to drive short-term market growth due to analysts' bullish sentiments. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact is expected to be significant as analysts' price targets and ratings suggest a positive outlook for the company. Ticker-specific analysis. N. Positive trade recommendation. Buy and score 2 symbols. N. News, 6 analysts have this to say about Permian Resources overall sentiment. Neutral, score 1 out of 10. Short-term impact. Moderate potential for short-term price fluctuations based on analyst rating updates. Long-term impact. Positive long-term market impact expected due to analysts' increased confidence in the company's growth prospects. Ticker-specific analysis. PR. Positive trade recommendation. Hold PR, score 1 symbols. PR. News, what analysts are saying about Option Care Health stock overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term market impact due to increased analyst optimism. Long-term impact, long-term potential for sustained growth based on increasing revenue and improved financial metrics. Ticker-specific analysis. OPCH. Positive trade recommendation. Hold OPCH. Score 1 symbols. OPCH. News. Jeff's Brands shares are trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary, KeepZone AI, entered into a non-exclusive distribution agreement with STI. Overall sentiment. Positive. Score 3 out of 10. Short-term impact. Positive short-term impact expected as shares trade higher. Long-term impact. Long-term impact uncertain, dependent on successful execution of the agreement. Ticker-specific analysis. JFBR. Positive trade recommendation. By JFBR, score 2 symbols. JFBR. News. Galaxy Digital shares rise after completing ERCOT study, securing additional power capacity. Overall sentiment. Positive. Score 9 out of 10. Short-term impact. Positive short-term impact expected due to the news about Galaxy Digital's expansion. Long-term impact. Potential long-term growth as the company continues to develop its data center campus and expand its power capacity. Ticker-specific analysis. GLXY. Positive trade recommendation. By GLXY, score 3 symbols. GLXY. News. Riot Platforms acquires 200 acres of land at Rockdale, signs data center lease and services agreement with Advanced Micro Devices. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 9 out of 10. Short-term impact. Expected short-term price increase for Riot and AMD due to the positive news. Long-term impact. Potential long-term market impact is significant, with Riot's expansion plans and partnership with AMD expected to drive growth in the industry. Ticker-specific analysis. AMD. Positive Riot. Positive trade recommendation. By Riot, score 4 symbols. AMD and Riot. News. Jaguar Health shares are trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary, Napo Pharmaceuticals, entered into a license agreement with Woodward Specialty. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact. Potential price increase due to positive news. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact, unknown, but the license agreement may have a positive effect on JAG's long-term prospects. Ticker-specific analysis. JAGS, positive trade recommendation. By JAGS, score 2 symbols. JAGS. News. Invitation Homes buys Rebuilt, says it can deliver more homes for American families. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Shares of INV may see a short-term increase due to the acquisition announcement. Long-term impact. The long-term market impact is uncertain, but the acquisition could position INV for future growth in desirable markets. Ticker-specific analysis. DHI. Negative INV. Neutral ITB. Negative trade recommendation. Sell VNQ, score -2 symbols. DHI. INV, ITP, LEN, and VNQ. News. Perfusa shares are trading higher after the company announced the launch of its healthcare research version of the Lumi tissue oxygen monitoring into the contract research organizations market. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term price increase expected due to positive news. Long-term impact. Long-term impact uncertain, but could lead to increased investor interest and potentially higher stock prices over time. Ticker-specific analysis. PFSA. Positive trade recommendation. By PFSA, scored 2 symbols. PFSA. News. Cloudflare announces Astro Technology to join Cloudflare. Terms not disclosed. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Positive reaction expected from investors as the acquisition is seen as a strategic move. Long-term impact. Potential long-term benefits include expanded market reach and increased revenue due to enhanced offerings. Ticker-specific analysis. Net. Positive trade recommendation. By net, score 2 symbols. Net. News. Pain Reform shares are trading higher. The company announced a name change amid its expansion diversified healthcare and AI-driven energy platforms. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term gain due to news about name change and expansion. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact uncertain, but potentially positive with successful execution of new strategies. Ticker-specific analysis. PRFX, positive trade recommendation. Hold PRFX, score 1 symbols. PRFX. News. Lowe's becomes main partner of Inter Miami under renewed, expanded partnership. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 9 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact. LOW stock may experience a positive reaction due to the partnership news. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact. The partnership could have a long-term positive effect on Lowe's brand and revenue, potentially leading to increased investor confidence. Ticker-specific analysis. Low. Positive trade recommendation. Hold LOW, score 0 symbols. Low. News. Pum Doctor advances strategic collaboration with domestic pharmaceutical companies to accelerate growth of internet hospital business. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 8 out of 10. Short-term impact. The partnership may lead to a short-term stock price increase as investors react positively to the news. Long-term impact. Long-term, the strategic collaboration could drive significant growth in POM's internet hospital business and enhance its market position. Ticker-specific analysis. PUM. Positive trade recommendation. By pound, score 2 symbols. PUM. News. Bernstein maintains market perform on Verizon Communications, lowers price target to $44. Overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Minimal short-term impact expected due to no significant changes in analysts' opinion. Long-term impact. Long-term implications unclear. Further research needed. Ticker-specific analysis. VZ. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold VZ, score 0 symbols. VZ. News. Canaccord Genuity maintains hold on Star Surgical, lowers price target to $22. Overall sentiment. Negative, score -4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Expected short-term impact. Negative price movement. Long-term impact. Potential long-term impact. Decreased investor confidence and lower stock value. Ticker-specific analysis. STA. Negative trade recommendation. Hold STA, score -1 symbols. STA. News. Riot Platforms shares are trading higher after the company announced that it acquired 200 acres of land at Rockdale and signed a data center lease and services agreement with Advanced Micro Devices. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Riot Platforms stock may experience a short-term boost due to the positive news. Long-term impact. The long-term impact is uncertain, but the partnership with AMD could lead to future growth opportunities. Ticker-specific analysis. AMD. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold AMD, score 0 symbols. AMD. News. Correction. Riot Platform's ticker is Riot, not AMD. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Minimal short-term market impact expected. Long-term impact. No long-term market impact anticipated. Ticker-specific analysis. AMD. Neutral Riot. Positive trade recommendation. Buy Riot, score 2 symbols. AMD and Riot. News. Here's how much $100 invested in Sprott physical silver 5 years ago would be worth today. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. The article's focus on historical performance may not directly impact short-term market movements. Long-term impact. Investors may be inspired to consider Sprott physical silver for long-term investment opportunities due to its impressive returns. Ticker-specific analysis. PSLV. Positive trade recommendation. By PSLV, score 2 symbols. PSLV. News. Riot Platforms shares are trading higher after the company announced that it acquired 200 acres of land at Rockdale and signed a data center lease and services agreement with Advanced Micro Devices. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Riot stock may experience short-term gains due to the acquisition. Long-term impact. The partnership may have long-term benefits for AMD in the data center space. Ticker-specific analysis. AMD. Positive trade recommendation. Buy AMD, score 2 symbols. AMD. News. Riot Platforms shares are trading higher after the company announced that it acquired 200 acres of land at Rockdale and signed a data center lease and services agreement with Advanced Micro Devices. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Riot stock price may surge in the short term due to the positive news. Long-term impact. This partnership could have a lasting impact on Riot long-term success and market position. Ticker-specific analysis. Riot. Positive trade recommendation. By Riot, score 2 symbols. Riot. News. Springview shares volatile after solar partnership announcement. Overall sentiment. Negative, score -7 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential pullback or correction expected due to overbought conditions. Long-term impact. Long-term weakness indicated by decline in share value over the past year. Ticker-specific analysis. SBHL. Negative trade recommendation. Sell SBHL. Score -2 symbols. SBHL. News. Paychex board authorizes purchase of up to $1B of its common stock. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact may be positive due to the buyback announcement. Long-term impact. Long-term potential for sustained growth based on the company's confidence in its financial health and dividend payout. Ticker-specific analysis. PAIX. Positive trade recommendation. Hold PAIX, score 1 symbols. PAIX. News. Benchmark maintains buy on XPO, raises price target to $165. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Expected increase in XPO stock price due to higher price target. Long-term impact. Positive long-term outlook for XPO as analyst maintains buy rating. Ticker-specific analysis. XPO. Positive trade recommendation. Hold XPO, score 1 symbols. XPO. News. Crypto market structure bill can still pass if Coinbase, banks, Senate Dems reach a compromise. Report overall sentiment. Neutral, score 1 out of 10. Short-term impact. The delay in the markup may lead to a short-term uncertainty, but a compromise could quickly pass the bill. Long-term impact. A successful passage of the crypto market structure legislation could have a positive long-term impact on the industry, including increased regulation and stability. Ticker-specific analysis. Coin. Neutral CRCL. Negative XRP. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold XRP. Score 0 symbols. Coin. CRCL and XRP. News. Benchmark maintains buy on Patrick Industries. Raises price target to $140 overall sentiment. Positive. Score 7 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact. Potential short-term gain as investors react positively to the price target increase. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact. Positive long-term implications due to sustained buy rating and increased price target, indicating strong analyst outlook. Ticker-specific analysis. PATC. Positive trade recommendation by PATC. Score 2 symbols. PATC. News. Benchmark maintains buy on power integrations. Raises price target to $55 overall sentiment. Positive. Score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Powi stock may experience a short-term increase in value due to the raised price target. Long-term impact. The long-term market impact is likely to be significant, with Powi prospects improving as a result of Benchmark's positive outlook. Ticker-specific analysis. Powi. Positive trade recommendation. Buy Powi score 2 symbols. Powi. News. Benchmark maintains buy on Max Linear. Raises price target to $28 overall sentiment. Positive. Score 8 out of 10. Short-term impact. The news is likely to boost Max Linear stock price in the short term. Long-term impact. The analyst's positive outlook could have a long-term impact on the company's stock price and overall market performance. Ticker-specific analysis. MXL. Positive trade recommendation. By MXL. Score 2 symbols. MXL. News. Live on CNBC. Micron CEO says there will be supply constraints in 2026. Overall sentiment. Negative. Score -4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term price volatility due to supply constraints. Long-term impact. Long-term implications for Micron's market share and competitiveness unclear, but potentially negative. Ticker-specific analysis. MU. Negative trade recommendation. Sell MU. Score -2 symbols. MU. News. TD Cowen maintains hold on First Horizon. Raises price target to $27 overall sentiment. Positive. Score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Limited short-term impact expected due to minor price target adjustment. Long-term impact. Potential long-term positive impact if analysts' revised target is met. Ticker-specific analysis. FHN. Positive trade recommendation. By FHN. Score 2 symbols. FHN. News. Warner Bros. Bids threaten movie theater industry. EU warned Bloomberg overall sentiment, negative, score -4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact may include volatility in movie theater and related stocks. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact could involve changes in consumer behavior and industry dynamics due to Warner Bros. Bids and EU warnings. Ticker-specific analysis. NFLX. Neutral PSKY. Neutral WBD. Negative trade recommendation. Hold WBD. Score -1 symbols. NFLX, PSKY, and WBD. News. $1,000 invested in Brookfield 10 years ago would be worth this much today. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Moderate positive impact expected, with potential short-term gains for investors. Long-term impact. Long-term, Brookfield's exceptional performance may continue to drive growth and attract investors. Ticker-specific analysis. BN. Positive trade recommendation. By BN, score 2 symbols. BN. News. D.A. Davidson maintains neutral on First Horizon, raises price target to $27 overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact is expected to be minimal. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact may be positive due to the analyst's improved outlook. Ticker-specific analysis. FHN. Positive trade recommendation. By FHN, score 2 symbols. FHN. News. TD Cowen maintains sell on B&G Foods, raises price target to $3.5 overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term negative impact due to maintained sell rating. Long-term impact. No significant long-term implications based on the provided article content. Ticker-specific analysis. BGS. Neutral trade recommendation. Sell BGS, score -2 symbols. BGS. News. Freedom Capital Markets initiates coverage on PHINIA with buy rating, announces price target of $82 overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term gain as investors react to the buy rating. Long-term impact. Long-term bullish sentiment could drive PHIN stock price upwards, potentially outperforming market averages. Ticker-specific analysis. PHIN. Positive trade recommendation. Hold a PHIN, score 1 symbols, PHIN. News. TD Cohen maintains buy on alignment healthcare, raises price target to $25 overall sentiment. Positive, scores 6 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term price increase due to increased buy recommendation. Long-term impact, positive long-term outlook for alignment healthcare. Analysts expect continued growth and raise price target. Specific analysis. Outlook, positive recommendation. Hold ALK, score 0 symbols. ALK. News. Jefferies maintains buy on Nvidia, raises price target to $275 overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact may be positive due to the price target increase. Long-term impact. Long-term outlook remains positive with a maintained buy recommendation. Ticker-specific analysis. NVDA, positive trade recommendation. Buy NVDA, score 2 symbols. NVDA. News, Jefferies maintains hold on Intel, raises price target to $45. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 2 out of 10. Short-term impact expected to be minimal. Long-term impact expected to be positive due to increased price target. Ticker-specific analysis, INTC, positive trade recommendation. By INTC, score 2 symbols, INTC. News, Nasdaq surges over 100 points. M&T Bank posts upbeat earnings. Overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact market impact is likely positive due to upbeat earnings and stock surges. Long-term market impact remains uncertain, but overall sentiment suggests potential growth. Ticker-specific analysis, CJMB, negative JFBR, neutral LCFY. Neutral trade recommendation, sell YAL, score -2 symbols, CJMB, JFBR, LCFY, NTB, REA, Bureau and YAL. News, Stevens & Co. Upgrades Flywire to overweight, raises price target to $19. Overall sentiment, positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term increase in stock price due to upgraded rating and higher price target. Long-term impact, long-term positive impact on the company's growth prospects and investor confidence. Ticker-specific analysis, FLYU, positive trade recommendation, hold FLYU, score 1 symbols, FLYU. News, if you invested $1,000 in Fidelity MSCI Information Technology Index ETF stock 5 years ago, you would have this much today. Overall sentiment, positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact, FTech positive performance may lead to increased investor interest and potential short-term price appreciation. Long-term impact, the article suggests that FTech's strong historical performance may have a positive impact on its long-term prospects, making it an attractive investment option. Ticker-specific analysis, FTech, positive trade recommendation. By FTech, score 2 symbols, FTech. News, Jefferies maintains buy on Fair Isaac, raises price target to $2,200. Overall sentiment, positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term increase in stock price due to raised price target. Long-term impact, no change in long-term prospects as analyst maintains buy rating. Ticker-specific analysis, THECO, positive trade recommendation. Hold FICO, score 1 symbols, FICO. News. Jefferies initiates coverage on ANA with buy rating, announces price target of $9 overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term increase in stock price due to buy rating announcement. Long-term impact. Long-term market performance may be influenced by the achieved price target of $9. Ticker-specific analysis. ANA. Positive trade recommendation. Hold ANA, score 1 symbols. ANA. News. RBC Capital maintains sector perform on Allen, raises price target to $24 overall sentiment, positive, score 7 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact is likely minimal due to the lack of drastic changes. Long-term impact. Long-term potential for Allen may be positively influenced by the raised price target and maintain sector perform. Ticker-specific analysis. Allen. Positive trade recommendation. Hold OLN. Score 0 symbols. Aln. News. Jefferies downgrades Penumbra to hold, raises price target to $374 overall sentiment, neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Neutral impact on short-term price movement. Long-term impact. Potential positive impact from raised price target. Ticker-specific analysis. PEN. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold PEN. Score 1 symbols. PEN. News. RBC Capital maintains sector perform on Lyondell Basel Industries, raises price target to $49 overall sentiment. Positive. Score 6 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term increase in LYB stock price. Long-term impact. Long-term prospects for LYB remain stable with sector perform rating. Ticker-specific analysis. LIB. Positive trade recommendation. By LIB, score 2 symbols. LIB. News. Micron and 6-chip stock surge as AI data explosion breaks the memory market overall sentiment. Neutral, score 1 out of 10. Short-term impact. The market impact will be significant, with downstream manufacturers struggling under rising costs and limited supply. Long-term impact. The AI-driven demand for high-margin memory chips is likely to persist, leading to a two-speed tech economy with chip makers and AI infrastructure players thriving while traditional electronics manufacturers struggle. Ticker-specific analysis. Dell. Negative NU. Neutral SNDK. Neutral trade recommendation. Hold WDC. Score -1 symbols. Dell. MU. SNDK. SSNLF. SDX and WDC. News. Worthington Steel. Immunitibio. Riot Platforms. Micron Technology and other big stocks moving higher on Friday overall sentiment. Positive. Score 8 out of 10. Short-term impact. The market impact is expected to be positive in the short term due to multiple companies experiencing significant gains. Long-term impact, however, without further analysis of company performance and industry trends, it's difficult to predict the long-term impact on individual stocks. Ticker-specific analysis. AMBA. Positive ASTS. Positive DBVT. Positive trade recommendation. Buy Zura, score 2 symbols. AMBA, ASTS. DBVT. Figure, Fly, Jev. Ibex, Coppin. LDI. Moo. MXL, Riot. Up. WS, and Zura. News. RBC Capital maintains sector perform on Dow, raises price target to $29 overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential short-term price increase. Long-term impact, long-term prospects for Dow may improve with this positive update. Ticker-specific analysis. Dow, positive trade recommendation. Hold Dow, score 1 symbols. Dow. News. Boeing secures tentative labor deal with former Spirit Aero Systems workers. Reuters overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. Short-term market impact should be positive as the news suggests a resolution to labor disputes. Long-term impact. Long-term market impact may be positive if the deal leads to increased productivity and competitiveness for Boeing. Ticker-specific analysis. BA. Positive trade recommendation. Hold BA, score 0 symbols. BA. News. NOB Housing Market Index for January 37 vs 40 EST. Overall sentiment. Negative, score -3 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term volatility due to declining housing market index. Long-term impact. Unclear long-term impact, but a negative sentiment towards the housing market may persist. Ticker-specific analysis. SPY. Negative trade recommendation. Hold SPY, score -1 symbols. SPY. News. Here's how much $100 invested in Caterpillar 20 years ago would be worth today. Overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. Potential short-term positive impact due to Caterpillar's exceptional performance. Long-term impact. Significant long-term potential due to its established brand and strong financials. Ticker-specific analysis. CAT. Positive trade recommendation. Hold CAT, score 1 symbols. CAT. News, competitor analysis. Evaluating NVIDIA and competitors in semiconductors and semiconductor equipment industry overall sentiment. Positive, score 5 out of 10. Short-term impact. NVIDIA stock may experience short-term gains due to its strong financial performance. Long-term impact. The article suggests NVIDIA has long-term growth prospects within the industry. Ticker-specific analysis. NVDA. Positive trade recommendation. Buy NVDA, score 2 symbols. NVDA. News, P/E ratio insights for Coal's overall sentiment. Neutral, score 1 out of 10. Short-term impact, minimal impact expected due to neutral sentiment. Long-term impact. Investors should use the P/E ratio in conjunction with other financial metrics for informed decisions. Ticker-specific analysis. KSS, neutral trade recommendation. Hold KSS, score 0 symbols. KSS. News, exploring the competitive space, Intel versus industry peers in semiconductors and semiconductor equipment overall sentiment, negative, score -4 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential decrease in stock price due to underperformance. Long-term impact, investors may reassess their positions based on Intel's weaker financial performance and growth prospects within the sector. Ticker-specific analysis, INTC, negative trade recommendation. Sell INTC, score -2 symbols. INTC. News, looking into GSK PLC's recent short interest overall sentiment. Neutral, score 0 out of 10. Short-term impact. Traders should be aware of increasing short interest and potential volatility. Long-term impact. The increase in short interest may indicate a bearish sentiment, potentially leading to long-term negative market impact. Ticker-specific analysis. GSK, negative trade recommendation. Sell GSK, score -2 symbols. GSK. News, RBC Capital maintains sector performance Celanese, raises price target to $48 overall sentiment, positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, moderate increase in stock price expected. Long-term impact, positive sentiment may lead to long-term growth. Ticker-specific analysis, C. Positive trade recommendation. Hold CE, score 0 symbols, C. News, this is what whales are betting on Salesforce overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact, potential price increase to $280.0. Long-term impact, increased investor interest in CRM's cloud computing solutions. Ticker-specific analysis, CRM, positive trade recommendation. Hold CRM, score 1 symbols. CRM. News, performance comparison. Netflix and competitors in entertainment industry overall sentiment. Positive, score 4 out of 10. Short-term impact. The article's positive sentiment may lead to short-term price appreciation. Long-term impact. Netflix's strong financials and growth potential may drive long-term market outperformance in the entertainment sector. Ticker-specific analysis. NFLX, positive trade recommendation.